Hello, it looks like it is 1 o'clock today. I want to thank everybody for attending. Obviously, last week we had a venue replay webinar. This week, I believe we are going to be focusing more on the reverse append product and the ways in which we can use it, one, in current landscape, but also in general, and try to really explore a product that's not well understood by a lot of individuals, but hopefully with this webinar we can really bring some clarity and ways in which we can use it as a team, us and you as an end client or the actual print house that's managing all those mailers. So just to introduce myself, I am Nathan Gauger. I am one of the research and development specialists here at El Toro. I've been around for around a year and a half now. It's a great job, and reverse append is one of the great products that we have here at El Toro that we can really dig into. And I've also got with me, I've got a special guest who we're going to hear from later, but I also have Mari. And Mari, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, I'm Mari Humberg. I work on the operations department at El Toro. I am also one of the reverse append specialists, so I'll be helping out with this presentation today.
Awesome. Thanks, Mari. Well, once again, we really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to learn about this product. Just based on time, I think we are going to hold questions till the end once again. We found that to be highly utilized, those questions at the end, and we really found a great response from them. So we like answering your questions, and if you do have any questions mid-presentation, we will run through those. So feel free to type them in. We can run through those at the end of the presentation, really answer those. And then also, if you do have questions after that as well, any questions that may pop up after the presentation, you're more than welcome to email us at info@eltoro.com, which we'll have that link later in the presentation for you. In today's webinar, once again, we are focusing on reverse append and how to truly utilize this product. Let's get started. Awesome. So reverse append in general. Whenever we're talking about reverse append, this is really a unique product that's pretty well known throughout our landscape, at least here at El Toro. One of the main items with reverse append is the ability to query for website visitors and really show essentially where those website visitors are coming from. And this is extremely important in today's climate. So this is the perfect time really to get in front of people at their household. This is really not a great time for marketing budgets. And once again, I know we talked about this a lot on the previous slide, but we really do have an issue right now getting to people at businesses, and B2B marketing was a huge focus previously. Now we need to get to people at their households. One of the lucky items with reverse append is being able to identify people at their household. And this is to get in front of them through direct mail. So just to kind of run through this a little bit, the reason that you're here today, 42% of all of the people, one second guys, we're having a small technical difficulty here. I apologize for the delay. Awesome. So the reason that we're here today, one, direct mail, obviously it's a tangible piece of mail. It's something where I can touch it. I'm going to have some greater affinity towards it. It's not just something that I'm seeing. It's something that I either have to use or have to throw away. And there's an actual cycle where people convert at higher rates through direct mail. So that 42% there that you're seeing, those are people that read or scan direct mail whenever they actually get it. 18% of people open an email. So you're already reaching over twice as many people by sending a direct mail piece as sending an email. Now you're right, email is cheaper. It also is more likely to go into spam and other things which don't truly activate on an individual. And it's, once again, not that tangible piece where you have to pick it up, where you have to make some sort of a movement with it, whether it be throwing it in the trash or reading it and actually getting the conversion out of it. So people spend about 25% more time reading direct mail pieces, one, but they also have a higher rate of conversion. So people convert at 25% more when direct mail is used in combination with email. Compared to other placement strategies, retargeting has one of the highest lifts. If someone is on your website, they obviously have an affinity towards your brand. That's great. And also, if they're on your website right now, they're probably searching for something to buy. So if I have the ability to get in front of them quickly, not just with our retargeting ads, which is pretty common within the workplace and today, 49% of brands have a dedicated budget towards retargeting. So you can already capture portions of that, but it also has one of the highest lists, and getting more channels, an omni-channel experience to that customer is going to be one of the biggest ways in which to reach a true conversion cycle. So give a little bit of background on El Toro. I apologize for anybody who was on this last week. I really just want to reemphasize for those that have new participation within these webinars. El Toro, we've been around for 8.5 years. We were recognized as the 13th fastest growing company by Deloitte's Fast 500 in the technology sector. We have massive growth, and that's based on the capabilities that we have here at El Toro. So I'm going to talk about 3 points of data that we really care about. The IP address, which is the router Wi-Fi of the household. We also care about the device IDs that we see running around the United States. So we receive about 350 billion points of data every day. That is device IDs, timestamp. Those points of data allow us to see where devices go and develop essentially consumption behaviors. And then the physical address. So if I know that the Wi-Fi router of a specific address exists in this specific home, I now have the ability to bid on that traffic, which means that I can get in front of those individuals through a digital ad and actually message all of the devices that are connected to that Wi-Fi router that exist within that specific business. It's huge. It's revolutionary. It's something that really, that's why I work here, is that point of data is massive for getting in front of the right individual. So if we were to identify any of these 3 points, we'd be able to connect you to the other 3 points. This creates really an easy system flow for getting in front of people in what is, one, today a dynamically changing environment, but also previously. And then after we go through these COVID experiences, we'll really be able to get in front of people in a meaningful way. So this is one-to-one targeting. We are completely cookie-free in all of our data collection. You will not see a cookie other than our retargeting product. And I know that we're talking about retargeting product today, but cookie-free in the data collection for any of our IP to household match, any of our device to household match. We do not use cookies, which means that we do not rely on current infrastructure that is currently being taken away through browsers and many other things in the needs of privacy. Awesome. So reverse append, it really just to dig in on the very, very topical nature of this. Reverse append is the idea where if I can identify someone coming to your website, and I can identify where they've been on your website, and then I can identify the household address of that person who's visiting your website, I can get a direct mail piece to them. And I can get that to them in a timely fashion. It doesn't have to be 5 weeks. It doesn't have to be 3 weeks. It could be tomorrow for someone visiting your website today. This is really a product that personally, this is one of my favorite products. This is my favorite product. Venue Replay is obviously my second product. I deal with that every day. But reverse append allows me to inventory website visitors based on the sites that they visit or what they look at, and creatively segment those individuals and reach them in a very, very specific way. So farming your client's assets. This is one of the biggest things to me, and I use a farm as my analogy typically whenever I'm thinking of this. You're already spending a lot of money getting people to your website. What's the best way to get those people to convert? And right now, retargeting is the best way to reach those people if they do not convert on first visit, which most of them don't. We're just adding another channel to get in front of those individuals. Things to look for. Obviously, you want to find websites that have high value for your clients. So those that are maybe product pages, those that you can show segmentation on. In accessing the results, we actually process these results of the IP addresses who visit your website every night. So this allows us to get in front of them within 24 hours. In some cases, even faster than that. And if we are processing these every night, we actually send them to a print house or a direct mailer through SFTP, and that allows us or allows the direct mailer to perform whatever segmentation or whatever they are doing as far as business rules to get your customers a very segmented and unique piece of mail that they can convert through. So once again, direct mailers do have access to this data. It's sent through an SFTP. It is in the direct mailer's hands. So it's not something where it's being held in El Toro solely. If you are a print house, you will have access to this. I'm going to go real quick through the venue replay workflow, which is a pretty easy little workflow. The idea here is, first, you have to identify the website. So once we have that website identified, your client's website, we'll then look at pixeling that website. And our pixel is really easy to place. You can do it through Google Tag Manager. I believe Mari is going to show us how to set up a pixel as well within the system. And from there, we will create the business rules for bucketing those individual pixels and those individual websites. So this is where you would create the pages that have a higher value to them. Those pages that allow for that segmentation to get in front of an individual in a better way, in a more segmented, in a more effective way than what's currently allowed through direct mail, where you don't really know the true intent of a customer whenever you're sending that out typically. So El Toro generates the addresses through the IP addresses, and that gives us the household addresses. Once we send those to you as the print house or your direct mailer, whether you're the end client or the direct mailer, you can then apply those further business rules, whether it be demographics, CAT certification, name append are two things that we truly recommend. And then once we do that, your direct mailer or you as the print house will actually send those direct mail pieces out. From there, we'll measure the results. From there, we'll also optimize the results. So which web pages are having higher conversion rates? If I'm trying to sell water bottle, is the water bottle that is bigger having higher conversion rates than those that are smaller? And should I look at those smaller water bottles and say, hey, maybe I need a different creative to inspire that person looking at that smaller water bottle to buy the bigger one? There's a lot of different ways that you could look at this as a business. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pass this over to Mari, and she'll be able to really explain more about how Reverse Append's set up and how to create your own business rules.
Thanks for that intro, Nathan. I'm going to go ahead and just skip to this slide right here, but I'm going to switch screens and show you guys our portal. I think it's going through right now. Awesome. So I know that a lot of you are already existing clients or even print houses. I know we have a few in here as well, but I'm going to kind of just go through the process of setting up a bucket. As Nathan said, we're very passionate about this product and we think that it has huge potential. So the more people that are aware and kind of can help with figuring out the route that we need to take to be successful with this. So first things first, this is just the dashboard. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the portal here, but to generate a Reverse Append bucket, what we're going to do is go to targets on the left. And we're going to click on Advanced Reverse Append right up top. Notice that if you don't have the Reverse Append product set up for you, you're actually going to see your target options cut off right here. So to become a Reverse Append product user, you need to actually have that approved. So you'll have to go either through your sales representative or through the ticket desk. Once I click on Advanced Reverse Append, we're going to have a few options here. First things first, we'll just call this demo bucket. We're going to name the bucket. The tags are strictly for you. If you want to tag this to make it easier to find in the future, if you're going to have a lot of buckets, that's an option that you have. Pixel ID, and this is the name of the pixel. I actually like to say that I'd like to name the pixel ID name the URL that you're planning on pixeling. So for this, we can just do demo.com. And this would be, for example, if it was El Toro, it would be eltoro.com. We don't have a field for the URL, so I consider this the URL field. I think that makes it a lot easier for our team to work with you on kind of determining the website that's going to be pixeled. I'm going to click out of that. The next thing we have here is the rule sets, and I'm actually going to skip through this right now. I'm going to go back around and show you guys how to do that. And you have a few more options here. So first one is enable daily processing. That's a toggle. You turn it on or off. This one is something that kind of, let's say that we were ready to toggle this on, so we want to target demo.com. We're going to go ahead and just turn that on. Lookup window. So this is just, I typically just leave this at 24 hours. We want those files being sent over to you guys every day. So this would typically start at midnight, and that's the next field right there, the run at field. So we want these files to be sent every day. When you get to the office in the morning, you'll have those files available to you. This next field right here, exclude duplicates. So this is, let's say someone went to our website yesterday and they also went to our website a week ago. The 2 weeks would mean that they would not show up in our target group again. So you can actually select from various timeframes here. So if you want to see all the people that visit your site every single day, you want none set there. If you want to remove those duplicates from time to time, you set the time frame that you want to remove those duplicates for. For this example, I'll go ahead and just set it to none. And then FTP path is just going to be the folder within the SFTP that these files are going to fall into. So usually it's a / let's say incoming. That's kind of a common one for a root SFTP file to fall into. So we can make this one even / incoming / demo. So that's exactly where this file would fall into within the SFTP. Note that it's very important that this is typed in properly, just because if there is a typo, if it's not exactly the same as the SFTP, it will not fall into this correct place. So once I click on save, I'm going to go back up here, click here to update the table. And there's our demo bucket that we just created. Notice that there's quite a few things here. I'm going to actually go through some real results with you guys from another demo bucket that we have in a little bit here. But what I did want to point out is that as soon as I create that bucket, we have our pixel that's generated. This is the pixel that needs to be placed with Google Tag Manager. If you click on Google Tag Manager instructions, those are going to come up for you. If you'd rather have them in a PDF file, that's something that we can also send over to you. Just request that to your sales rep or through support. There are two codes, and notice that the exact same code is in them. So the WPP, and then if you look right here, WPP again. So it's going to be the same code. This one is to be used to place straight into the source code, and this one is to use Google Tag Manager. That's the difference between these two codes. You don't need to place both of them. And the rest of this we've already filled out. So what I'm going to go ahead and do with you guys now is kind of go over some of the rule sets that we have. With the bucket being set up, all you have to do is just click on this little arrow to open the rule set option. Notice that you have a blank spot here, and then you have term written out, and then you have a few options down here, and I'm going to go over all of this by going over through some of our top cases. So our first top case is pixeling the entire site, and I think that's extremely important. So while you may know that you want to target particular pages or particular parts of your website or the URL that you're looking to target, you want to still pixel your entire site. The idea behind that is to kind of get some numbers behind all of that. So we want to see that, let's say there are 10,000 visitors every single day within the entire site. And then when you start segmenting and then making smaller buckets, you can kind of see some of those numbers drop and see how many people went to the main website but didn't go to the page that you were looking for. So I think this is a very good reference to have. And you can also target everyone within this if that's what you're looking to do. So to pixel the entire site, all you have to do is just type in dot star. That's what we call it. It's a period and a little asterisk. So that's actually what we call our wildcard. This is actually just going to capture everything, right? So a dot star just means that it's going to capture the entire site. It's also important to note that this says term. We want to change that to regex. Regex, most of you also probably already know this, but regex just stands for regular expression. And that's just kind of the rule set that we're going to use for this one. That's all you would need to do to pixel the entire site. Once you click on save, and I'm going to close this off now, that's what it would look like. It's a little search bar and a dot star, and that is the rule set for pixeling the entire site. Next suggestion that we have, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep this one open and demo all of our options within the same bucket for the example purpose here. Next one that we have, and it's probably our biggest one, it's shopping cart abandonment. So the goal of this is to capture those people that went and put something in that shopping cart within your website but didn't purchase, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to use, let's say it's demo. Oh, let me click back into that. Demo.com. We would likely have an HTTPS. And make sure that this has to be, again, properly set up or it won't work. And what we're going to have after this is maybe cart. We're going to leave that at term because we didn't use a wildcard. But what I do want to show you guys is how to set up an exclusion set. So when you target the shopping cart abandonment, you don't want to target people that have already converted. So that means people that already purchased your product. So what I clicked on there, let me go back quickly. I clicked on add exclusion set. So we don't want to target certain people. So after I added the exclusion, I click on add term URL. And then we are going to do https demo.com/thank you. Let's say that's the thank you page that kind of just everyone that purchased would fall into that page. So we are going to target everyone that went to the cart page but didn't go to the thank you page. I'm going to click on save. And then when I close that, you're going to notice that it still has that first rule set right there, the demo.com/cart. And then the second option is going to be an exclusion. So it's not going to include in our target group whoever reached the thank you page. And that's what we have for shopping cart abandonment. They meet the criteria to kind of capture those conversions within 24 hours of abandonment, right? As Nathan was talking about earlier, we have that option to have that really quick turnaround. So this is a really good option when someone is looking at your product that week and you can target them with a mail piece. So the next one that I want to talk about is target terms. That's something that we call them target terms. That's kind of a term that we created in-house. And that's also with the use of the wildcard, as I had mentioned before. So let's say you have a lot of products, but you actually want to see who went to your site to look at those products. So an example would be .star product.star. And that .star set, as I mentioned, it's kind of to capture everything, right? But since I placed a word in between the two .stars, it basically just means that it's going to capture all the pages that has the word products in it. So it's going to capture, let's say, HTTPS : for one second, sorry, // and then you're going to capture demo.com /product, and then it can have / reverse append after it, for example. You're going to capture anything that has words before that and after that. And you can add many of these. Let's say you want to capture products. I just clicked on add term URL. You can do .star billing. You want to see who went to your billing page. You can do this for essentially anything. Note here that these are set to term. Since it has the wildcard there, you actually need to flip these to regex as well. So if I click on save and then close the rule set engine here again, it's going to show you that you're targeting everyone within products and billing. And something that I want you to note here as well is that it says match all of the following. And a lot of you probably know this as well. We can have ands or ors when it comes to rule setting. This is ands, right? All of the following. So for someone to be in this target group, they would have to have hit products and billing. The problem with that is that I want to capture people that go to products or billing. So we're going to have to make a little modification here. I'm going to open that rule set again, and now I'm going to click on Add Nested Optional Set. Looks a little bit different, looks green in here now. If I click on Add Term URL, .star products .star, flip it to regex, add one more, .star billing .star, and then I can remove these two because we don't want to match all options. We want to match any options. So those would be or statements. If I click on save, that's how it looks right there. So it still says match all up here, but within that match all function, we have a match any function, and that means that we can match people that went to products page and billing pages. Either one of them would make it to that target group. The last use case that I want to go over with you guys, and I'll go ahead and just close this one, and we can create a new one by click on Add Term URL, is a product page specific. So I can use El Toro for this one. Let's see, eltoro.com, and let's do the reverse pin page since that's what we're talking about today. That's essentially how you would set this up. No need to change to regex because we don't have a .star. So I'm going to click on save. Close that rule set engine, and that's how it looks right there. So you would capture everyone that went strictly to the eltoro.com/reverse append page. Awesome. So this is just me kind of going some of those best practices, and we're going to share some insight on how to set these up. You can also use these interchangeably. So you can use the .star kind of around different ways, and you can also use product page specific with target terms, or you can add exclusion sets to a target term. You can kind of vary the way that you use those rules and make them very complex if you'd like. I do want to go over one more thing with you guys. It's just kind of when a bucket's ready and actually running. So I generated one earlier today that was called, I'm going to click on target type here, apply a filter, go to reverse IP, and click on demo. I just created this earlier today to go over these numbers, kind of this breakdown with you guys. But here we go. So there's a few metrics, as you can notice here, and the numbers are decreasing. So the total hits, and if you scroll over them like I'm doing right now, you can see what they are. So the total hits is the total number of hits the URLs received according to your current filtering rules. So those rules that we just went over, everyone that falls into those rules that we've determined would fall into the total hits. Now notice that there's a drop between total hits and filtered audience. Filtered audience is the total number of hits the URLs receive, excluding cell phones and other mobile devices. And let me clarify that a little bit. We can match cell phones, but they need to be mapped back to an IP, right? So if someone's on a hotspot, or if someone is just on a cell tower, that's not something that we're going to be able to match back to an IP. So if you're at home on your phone and connected to your IP, that's something that we would be able to recognize. So that's why there's a drop there. Next one we have is matched audience. So that's the matches from the filtered audience. So this is just the amount of people that we matched from that right there. So looks like this one was 48.35%. I would say our average right now has been 50. So expect anywhere from 40 to 60% match rate. Previously matched audience, and this is something we talked about previously already actually. And this number is 0. And I'm going to scroll down to something that we talked about a little bit earlier, which is the exclude duplicates button. This is set to none, and this is what I was talking about. If you want to see those visitors come in every day, you want to set that to none. If you want those to be removed according to a certain time frame that you determine, that's what you would have to do here. Since this is set to none, the previously matched audience is 0. Now the last one that I'm going to go over here is targetable audience. So targetable audience is actually the number of rows that you would receive daily. So that's the number of addresses that you would receive, right? That's the audience that we are sending back to you that you can actually target. So there is a little bit of a drop here between matched audience and targetable audience as well. And I just want to point out that sometimes 2 people in the same home visit an address. So that would be kind of removing those duplicates from the same IP. So the targetable audience is actual household or business addresses that can be targeted. And notice this little note here at the bottom. We don't cast certify and name append on our end. That is something that the print house does. So there might be a little bit of a difference as well when it's mailing time. I think that kind of covers the basics of reverse append and kind of how to build out these buckets. One more thing that I do want to touch on that seems to be a little bit confusing. If I go back to that one that I created, this demo.com pixel right here. So let's say you are going to create 10 buckets for the same URL. You can actually use the same pixel for all of them. You don't have to place that pixel 10 times. You can call all of them demo.com, and then you can just set the different rules for different buckets. That just means that you're going to receive them in different files. So if it's important to you to receive different files for each rule set, create them into separate buckets. And just a reminder with kind of how we do our file sending. Essentially, we send 2 files every single night. One is a stats file with the results, so with these numbers right here. And the other one is a results file, so it just has the addresses. So you have address, city, state, and zip code in that file. And that's going to be sent daily to the path that you set all the way down here in your bucket. Nathan, I think that covers what I was going to go over with this here. I'm going to flip back to my other screen. Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next one. Yeah, no problem. Back to you.
Beautiful. Yeah, so, obviously this could become a rather complicated process, and we do have people here that are ready to help you. If you do have any needs, if there's anything that we can do to help you, feel free to reach out. We do have print houses that are available. We do have sales reps. We do have people that are reverse append capable, such as Mari and other individuals that can help you build out these custom rule sets so that we can truly get in front of these items that you're trying to get in front of. Reverse append, we understand the majority of us are not coding individuals. So we understand it's complicated, is what I'm trying to say. I don't fully understand all of the rule sets. I go to Mari whenever I need help. So feel free, once again, we are available for that. But I do want to talk about ways in which we can get in front of these individuals, how we have done it in the past, and how we are doing it currently. So in this specific case, we're talking an El Toro case study, the furniture retail case study. Basically, what we were able to identify is the people that were going specifically to this furniture retail website. And based on the custom business rules that were defined, we generated almost $2.9 million in revenue, which is a pretty crazy number. It had an 18% conversion rate for those that were previous customers. So I'm always going to hit on retention. Email marketing campaigns are great. You should do them. You should do them over and over again. It doesn't mean that that should be your only channel of retention marketing, though. We know direct mail is expensive. We know digital ads are expensive. But getting in front of those individuals more and more times increases loyalty and retention rates. And it's so important to get those to higher rates, because if I can make sure that a customer stays with me for life, that individual will spend a lot of money with me. And that's what grows my business year over year, is the people that are coming back. And then I can go and reach out for new people. And you can also do that through this, where we were able to reach a 10.3% conversion rate for those that were identified as new customers, those that had never previously bought. This is a very targeted audience. This is a targeted audience that needs your product. They're currently looking for it. So we should probably send as many mail pieces to those that are looking for it as we possibly can. Because if I can gain a new customer, that now puts them into my retention pot. In that retention pot, you can see almost twice the conversion rate of those who are new customers. So a couple of use cases that I've seen in the past and how I currently use this product. Renewal by Anderson is someone that would potentially use reverse append, and that's specifically looking at windows, looking at construction items, someone who's looking for this big box office item, whether it be furniture, whether it be windows, whether it even be like painting. Sherwin-Williams could potentially use this for identifying people that are looking to remodel and sell their paint through it. So many different avenues to use within the furniture industry. Also looking at music festivals. People who visit today and purchase are great. Whether you get that information on the back end, I don't know. So if I have a Ticketmaster, or I have someone that is, performing my services and making it so that they can actually sell my ticketing, I don't know who that person is. So if you're able to pixel that site, I can not only convert them today, I can also store that audience so I could potentially convert them next year. So these become static databases whenever you're talking about getting them into a household address. Not many people move every year. So activating on them one time today, you could also activate on them next year, which this comes around for Christmas time, Black Friday. There are so many different seasons and seasonal items where this could be used for. Within the University of Louisville, we're looking at admissions. We're looking at so many different ways, sporting programs, foundations, trying to get donors, ways in which just to identify affinity towards a specific school or a specific organization. Buffalo Wild Wings could use this potentially for loyalty. These are all potential use cases. This is not directly what they're using them for, but they could use this for a loyalty program. Those who are having affinity towards Buffalo Wild Wings may choose to come back. And then the last one, which I hold close to heart, is banking. So within banking, you have mortgage products. You have small business products. You have people that want to get checking accounts. You have people looking at CDs. I work a lot within the finance industry. This is something that I have used in the past to identify people that are looking for extremely specific items, such as that mortgage offer. And if I can get in front of those individuals with, hey, my bank would like to pre-qual you, or get in front of you with this specific offer for your mortgage rate, those are all things which could be extremely helpful. So where is reverse append effective? I can keep on going over this. In commerce, you're looking at almost all retail, automotive, ways in which just to identify people looking at your specific brand, being able to be product specific in that search as well. Within professional, you're looking at insurance, real estate, people looking at houses, maybe a realtor, people that are searching for realtors. This could be an extremely effective form. As a conversion rate, you would only really need to have, a 0.1% conversion rate on those that you mail actually coming and buying a house to turn a profit, just because that 6% on a household sale is so large. Recruiting in general, people looking for jobs. Within digital services, once again, those loyalty services are going to be huge. Retention marketing is something that we view as a massive opportunity. And last but not least, those frequently looked at locations, such as like sporting events. So people that consistently travel, people that specifically go for disposable income entertainment, inventorying those individuals based on their affinity towards a specific product can be highly advantageous for you to get in front of. So focusing the retargeted direct mail for the best results. Dave, are you available by chance?
I am.
Awesome. I'm going to pass this over to Dave. Dave Nugent is actually the Vice President of Aspire North. He is one of our awesome reverse append partners. He is one of the many mail houses that we have. I would say Dave has a lot of experience within this specific product. I'm going to let him take this away for a second and really explain what he does after he receives those addresses.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. So I'm primarily going to focus on a case study that touches on some of the things that we do, but I'll just start by saying that getting the identified physical addresses from El Toro is the most important part of the equation. It's the hardest part. They have a suite of patents that protect what they're doing. It's unbelievably accurate and it's totally scalable. A lot of the competitors out there that rely on cookies are just not going to be able to compete long term from an accuracy standpoint or a scalability standpoint. So we years ago hitched our wagon to the El Toro horse, and we've been very happy. But one thing that we felt like we needed to do to bring additional value is link these addresses that we receive from El Toro to other databases to gain more focus. I keep calling it focus, but basically what we're doing is we're trying to identify which of these identified website visitors are truly worthy of a remarketing investment. Not everybody that hits the website are good candidates to receive a piece of direct mail. Direct mail is expensive. So our argument is you better be right on whom you're sending these direct mail pieces to. And so what we like to do is utilize our internal third-party databases. In addition to being a print house, we have a 20+ year history of being a data company. We license third-party marketing databases, non-regulated databases, and we use these databases to enhance the address information we receive from El Toro and paint a picture of the household and the individuals within the household. And we use these demographics and psychographics and even some of the geographics to make determinations as to whom we actually want to send the direct mail. In addition to having all this third-party data, that's really important. We also have the data scientists to build the models to rank everybody. So we use things like the demographics I just described, but also the page views, stuff that Nathan and Mari were talking about earlier. If we know that consumers are hitting high-value interior web pages, and they possess the demographic characteristics that are really important, and they have close proximity to, in the example I'm going to share with you in just a second, they have close proximity to the brick and mortar retail locations, then that's a great recipe for success. And we want to reach out to those individuals. So just to illustrate how this focusing really works, I would just walk you through a quick case study. Some of you may have heard this. It's one of our favorites. So if you've heard it, I apologize. But for many that haven't heard it, I'll just start by saying that we work with a very large consumer products manufacturer and retailer. And I heard Nathan say earlier that they recognized that these retailers are spending an obscene amount of money to create awareness to the brand and driving traffic to their site. We want to maximize that. And so they're saying, well, geez, if we've got all these people coming to our site and they're not self-identifying, what can we do to remove the anonymity and trigger meaningful content to these in-market consumers? And so we stepped in and we basically promoted the El Toro reverse append solution. And they agreed to place the pixel and we started harvesting data. Well, to prove that this was going to work for them, we constructed a pilot program that essentially had us take a couple months worth of data, and they had well over 1 million unique visitors per month. And we were able to distill that down to what we considered the best 100,000. So it wasn't a huge mailing, but it was definitely something that was large enough for us to get a statistically backed result. And so we had 100,000 great prospects. These are people that hit those interior pages. They had the great demographics. They had the close proximity to one of their 600 stores. And so we isolated those 100,000 and we split it in half evenly. We said, all right, if these 100,000 are ranked 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, they're all good, but 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, we're going to divide that group of 100,000 in half. And we're going to have a half that we're going to send direct mail, and we're going to have half that we're not going to send direct mail. So we had a holdout group. And the thinking is that even if we do nothing with these people, the holdout group, if we do nothing, they're so stinking good that they're on their own organically, they're going to go in and buy products from this retailer. But the big hypothesis is that if we mail the other group, the mailing group, they're going to convert at a higher rate because we're nurturing them, we're maintaining top of mind awareness, we're providing a reminder, a nudge. And so we did the mailing and we kept the holdout, and the client agreed to share with us their conversion data for a time period of 60 days after the mail was anticipated to have been in-house. And so the data came in and two things were learned, actually three things were learned. Number one, the people that were held out, there was a significant amount of revenue associated with them. Upwards of $800,000 of sales were attributed to those 50,000 that we did nothing to. What this did for us is it told us that we had the right people. El Toro has accurately identified these website visitors. Otherwise, there's no way I would have been able to link the conversion data from the client, the transactional data from the client, to the holdout group. Another thing that it told us is that our models were spot on, right? We said these are the people that are likely to buy, and they did. They bought a ton. So $800,000 in revenue for 50,000 people that were held out. But the big win was the 50,000 that we mailed generated $1.3 million, little over that actually, in revenue. And so what we did is we said the delta between those two figures is a little over $500,000. That is how we're going to judge performance. So we had over $500,000 in incremental revenue. The client loved it. They had us run all kinds of t-tests. They provided all the variables for their t-test to measure statistical significance. And we were determined to have a 98% likelihood of it repeating that performance if we kept doing what we were doing. Naturally, it led to a big campaign, big rollout. We've been doing it for over 2 years, mailing multiple times every single week. And the results that are shared at the very bottom of the slide is we had a 4x improvement in conversion, more than a 12x ROI. An unintended learning, but it was still a good one, was that we saw that the mailing group converted a full 10 days faster than the people that were held out. And then most important for us and El Toro is it led to a national rollout. And it's been going on for years. And the last thing that I'll say before I pass it back to you, Nathan, is that even in today's climate with COVID, and majority of these stores, this client's stores, are closed right now, they continue to still harvest the data and market to them because these are aspirational shoppers that are on their site right now. They're sitting at home. They may have had a pay cut. They may have lost their job. They may have been furloughed. There's lots of things that are happening to consumers right now, yet it doesn't stop them thinking about some of the things that they're going to want to purchase once this blows over. And so there's a determination, the instinct was, oh my gosh, we got to pause this. But we said, well, wait a minute, the people that are actually on your website and not self-identifying, that's your lowest hanging fruit. Those are the people that you really want. So why don't we continue to collect the data and then devise a marketing strategy that basically says that there's a promotion being created for our patient shoppers. So for people that are thinking about buying the product or our products, you realize that most of our stores are closed due to the shelter in place requirements. Hang in there. Here's a promotion. When this blows over, you'll be able to benefit from some of the savings we're offering as a reward and a thank you for your patience. It's an unbelievable idea, and I think it's something that many, many more big brands and small brands need to do, is know who's still showing interest in your products right now and devise marketing strategies through the mail to get them to remember, maybe stick it on the refrigerator. You can't hold on to this, something tangible that's going to be a constant reminder that once this does blow over, these products and services are still going to be there waiting for you. So it's a fun product. We love the product. We use a lot of data, and we use some B2B stuff. If we can't match a physical address that we get from El Toro to our consumer database, oftentimes we'll bump it up against a B2B database and find a significant amount of businesses visiting our clients' consumer-facing websites. That opens up all new types of opportunities. So I can't speak highly enough about the product. I would encourage anybody out there to definitely link a lot of this information to some CAS software just to do some hygiene on the addresses, match it to third-party sources to append a name, use maybe those demographics and psychographics from those third-party sources to do lead scoring and ranking. And then most importantly, a best practice that we have is use that overlaid third-party information to even do some personalization of the marketing piece. You know, if personalization is done tactfully and you're not implying knowledge, you're going to have good performance. And then don't be afraid to shake it up also with what you're mailing. It doesn't always have to be a 4x6 postcard or a 6x9. You know, get into some interesting different formats. See what works. Use the data to determine who might be worthy of receiving a mail piece that's got some cool embellishments, you know, some color foils and or lenticular or motion coats or whatever what you might have in your toolbox as a print house. Don't be afraid to use those when you have a really high value prospect hitting your client's website and not converting. So I'll pump the brakes there, Nathan. Happy to answer any questions, but I know you've got some questions that are frequently asked that you want to touch on now.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And you're 100% spot on with the idea of inventorying that audience for later and activating on them later. That's one of the things that I look at the most within my sports teams, whether it be single game or season ticket sales, identifying someone that has an interest on a specific page within that sports team, whether it be, you know, it really doesn't matter what page at that point. If they're on the sports team's website, that's data that they aren't getting from, let's say, a Ticketmaster or a StubHub that you now have access to, and they can really develop things on their own if needed. Awesome. So to run through some of the frequently asked questions, as an end client, how do I get started? And it's really simple. We have a lot of people like Dave. We have a lot of people that are current print houses of the El Toro system. Or you can even choose to invite and introduce your print house that you currently use into the situation. And they can choose to use our product, and that will allow you to create some sort of strategy with that actual direct mailer. If you are a print house already, great. Let's look at one of our sales representatives. Feel free to reach out at the end of this webinar, and we will more than happily introduce you to a sales rep. Obviously, I want to meet your needs, so if you do have any questions, let's figure those out. Can I target all anonymous website visitors on my site with reverse append? No. So we are not going to capture everybody. Not everybody's going to arrive through an IP address that is specific to the household or specific to potentially a business address. That's the other thing. We match based on the IP and the parcel address that is identified to that IP. So that parcel address, if it's a business address, there's a good chance that you're going to get it. If it's a household address, there's a good chance that you're going to get it. But right now, our matching algorithms are pushing around a 40 to 60% match rate based on the website visitors that are coming into your website. So it's not everybody, but the portion that we do capture has very high intent and very high capabilities in actually coming forward and purchasing. What about other programmatic mail vendors? We hold a patent on this process. There are people that claim to be similar. Once again, this is very similar to the venue replay process. This is very similar to a lot of the processes within onboarding, where we have someone out there that's saying, oh yeah, we do that, and they don't. It's probably one of the hardest things to identify to an individual who's not well versed in all of the tech that's behind it, all the software that we had to build to get to this point. We don't use cookies. We don't do a lot of the things that almost every other vendor that's claiming to be similar performs. And based on that performance of using cookies or other third-party data in these matching algorithms, it introduces flaws. And that's why we are more accurate in the situation. It's difficult, but there is no one currently in the market that's doing what we are doing. Should I use first-class mail? I would always recommend getting to those people as quickly as possible. So my answer is yes. That doesn't mean, though, that you should use that for every single client. So if you're trying to sell a broom, that's $5. One, that's going to be it's a direct mail piece. I don't know what type of offer you're going to provide for that broom, but you probably shouldn't be selling or sending a $2 mail piece for a $5 broom. So keep that into perspective. This is all part of strategy. So if you do have any questions, once again, perfect opportunity to reach out to someone from El Toro. More than happy to help you. And how does El Toro obtain IP addresses? So this is through the pixels that we're going to place on your website. And this has to be opt-in. You know, your privacy policy has to state something to the effect of people coming to your site, you're likely going to use them for marketing material or marketing purposes. We obtain all of our IP addresses through opt-in data. So we get a stream of around 10,000 different applications that we are gathering around 350 billion points of data every single day. With those points of data, we create our IP to household match. We also create our device to household match. Data and compliance, going back into this, we are compliant with everything within the United States. So if there is a law within the United States, that's where we strive and where we do comply. So we're compliant with CCPA. We don't have any issues with anything within the United States. Because we do not function in Canada, we do not function in Europe, we do not function in any other country but the United States, we are not compliant with their laws most likely. Or we may be compliant with their laws and we just have not researched that. But it's not something that we're interested in marketing to. We only function within the United States. So kind of wrapping this up and then we'll get to some questions. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I apologize. It only looks like we have a couple minutes left. First things first, if you're looking to use reverse append, we need to have the ability to pixel your website. From that website and that pixel being placed, we're then going to create business rules based on the path of journey that an individual has on your specific website, looking at the IP addresses that visit. That's what that pixel gives us the ability to do. Once we have those IP addresses nightly, so 24-hour turnaround, we process those and we turn them into household addresses. Those household addresses are now capable of being mailed. We send that through SFTP to your print partner or you as a print partner. And then you have the ability to use those addresses, whether it be name append, whether it be CAS certification, whether it be third-party data like Dave was talking about. Those are all very powerful ways in which to have more effective and more efficient results within your direct mail campaigns generated from the reverse append product. I do recommend using CAS certification and name append purely so that you ensure that they do reach the mail addresses. So just, we want to thank everybody really for coming with us. Mari, I don't know if you want to step in and
Sure.
answer the questions that may be asked.
Yep, I'm looking at them right now. I'll answer a couple of these. Let's see. First one we have here, and I think this was covered by Dave, but how do we differentiate between IP addresses from businesses and homes, essentially? Basically, I mean, that's not the role that we play in this kind of service, right? All we're doing here is generating those matches. So as Dave mentioned, they run it against other sources to kind of determine if it's a household or a business. Let's see, another good question here. How do you match audiences on the website if you don't work with cookies? A little bit different. So cookies are essentially stored on a computer, right? Or so on the web browser. And essentially what we're doing here is we're having the owner of the website place a pixel on there. So that's how we're capturing that data. A little bit different than cookies. As Nathan mentioned, we don't use cookies for anything within El Toro except for the regular retargeting product. Another question we have here, and I'll go over probably a couple more. This product only works when they're in their home, and that is not correct. We can actually get people on their mobile, as I mentioned earlier, if they are connected to an IP. So not just solely on a mobile device connected to a cell tower, but we can if they are connected to an IP. Here's another good question. It's asking if it's kind of a managed service or if there can be a managed service instead of them doing it themselves. And yes, technically, the print house is essentially the person who's going to take care of this for you, and they will be in constant communication with the sales representative and with our support staff. As an end client, all you'll need to do is basically communicate with the print house to make sure that your goals and everything that you're looking for is being tackled there properly. Let's see. What other questions do we have? This is a good question. How we measure performance, and a matchback analysis is one of the ways that we can measure performances. For those of you that are not aware, since we have that sales data, right? So if the end client gives us the sales data or the print house the sales data, and we know exactly who we targeted because we have those household addresses or those business addresses, we can prove the ROI. So we can prove the return on ad spend to the ROAS. It's a good question. Here's a question if we can do reverse append via email, and that is not something that we do. We just do it for direct mail right now, but we can also pair this with digital campaigns. So that's a really good question. We can do direct mail and digital campaigns at the same time if that's something you're interested in. I think we can stop there. I think there's a few more questions. We can reach back out to you guys and even forward this on to your sales reps or just reach back out to you. I think we've hit our time here. Looks like it's 2:01. We just want to thank you guys one more time for attending today. Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Go ahead.
And if you guys want any additional information, once again, the email at the bottom there, info@eltoro.com, that phone number will directly get you into El Toro sales reps. Feel free to reach out. Really, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, anything that you think that we could perform that you have an idea for, it doesn't matter if it's just reverse append. It could be anything at this point. If you want to reach out to info@El Toro, we had a great response last week. We're hoping for a similar response this week. There's a lot out there, and really we're trying to get these products understood by the many who do have the capabilities of using them. So if this is of interest, once again, please reach out either to your sales rep or the info@eltoro.com. If you'd like a copy of this presentation, if you'd like the webinar, we are planning on posting it towards YouTube. If this is something that you would like to use for, something that you're going to bring to a client, or you as an end client would like a copy of the presentation in PDF format, we are more than willing to provide that as well. And you can ask info@eltoro.com and they'll get back to you very quickly. Once again, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And we truly hope to see you at our next one. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, guys.